Earlier this year, I visited Luna Park, Coney Island in New York, USA for the very first time. This is a very old and classic amusement park with many fantastic and thrilling rides located right on the Atlantic Ocean, right on Brooklyn Beach. I think this is a fantastic opportunity to give a review of this park, as it is one of the most iconic and well-known parks anywhere out there, and enthusiasts across the world travel to Luna Park, Coney Island every year to ride some of their fantastic collection of coasters and rides. So in today's video, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on Luna Park, Coney Island, and I'd love to hear yours down below. Welcome to Coasternaut, and if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, it massively helps out the channel, and subscribe for future videos regarding USA theme parks and roller coasters in the future, as there'll be plenty more to come. So, Luna Park, Coney Island. This has been operating since 1927, so we are shortly coming up on the 100th anniversary of the fantastic little park. And like I say, it's an amusement park rather than a theme park. There's not exactly much theming there, if any at all. However, it is a fantastic amusement park. Just because it's not a theme park doesn't mean it's any worse. You know, amusement parks value themselves on having a fantastic collection of rides, and I think part of what makes Luna Park so good is the location of it. Like I say, it is literally 50 meters from the Atlantic Ocean. It's right on the Brooklyn boardwalk, and it is a truly lovely area, especially on a nice sunny day. It is a really nice place to go to. A bit of history about the park. It was owned by multiple people. It has been independently owned. It was then owned by the Albert family, and this was sold to Thor Equities, I think around 2006-2007. They decided to stop operating and leasing the land around the 2009 season because of a dispute with the local authorities, I believe, and essentially a Dreamland amusement park, where they changed the name from Astroland at the time. This is before it was called Luna Park, Coney Island. And, you know, there's so many fantastic classic rides there, and it was such a shame to see it going through a bit of a tumultuous ownership that was a bit unsure about who was going to be owning it, even if it was going to survive at all, this park. And I think that makes where the park is now such a fantastic story, because it really is in a very good shape right now, which I'll get to in a second. However, you know, I think after this dispute, it was a bit unsure whether the park was ever going to continue operating, because it was essentially a travelling carnival. It was set up on just a lease with the local authorities. You know, they didn't actually own the land, but that was until 2010 when the Italian ride manufacturer Zamperla actually won the bid to operate all the rides on the former site. And ever since, Luna Park, Coney Island has been operated by Zamperla, and I think that was actually the real turning point for this park, because, you know, it has fantastic history. However, it was a bit on the downward slope. You know, there wasn't much investment in the park under the former owners. You know, they were just leasing land, and you know, it wasn't getting the true love it deserves. You know, when a park like this has so much history to it, and for that reason, it is sad. But like I say, Zamperla have now taken over the park, and since Zamperla took over the park in 2010, they have absolutely rejuvenated the park. They've added multiple new coasters. You know, they added a coaster in 2010, 2011, I think two in 2011 actually, one in 2014, another in 2021, and then another in 2022. Now, the coasters they've added have all been Zamperla coasters, and that doesn't mean they're bad. You know, people have a bit of a stigma around Zamperla and their coaster collection. However, a lot of these coasters are good, which I'll get onto in a second. But yeah, like I say, as well as the coasters, they've completely filled the park with many of their flat rides, and Zamperla are, you know, for as much hate as they got on the coaster side of things, they do have one of the best flat ride portfolios of any manufacturer out there. Zamperla are known for their flat rides, and you know, this is really good. You know, what they tend to do here, similar to the Mack family with Europa Park, they put in a lot of their sort of prototype rides here for the very first time. So, you know, this is where we saw the first Thunderbolt coaster. This is where we saw the first Nebulas, and some of the other Zamperla flats as well. So it's really interesting to see what Zamperla are doing here with this park, almost using it as a testing ground and as a showcase for their new rides and attractions, that maybe other parks and companies can come and view these installations once they're at Coney Island and see, oh, that looks, you know, that works better than we thought, that looks fantastic, let's get one of those for our park. So it's really interesting to see Zamperla using Coney Island as almost a testing ground for all of their new rides and attractions, and I think it is a fantastic idea because it lets them showcase their whole portfolio of flat rides and coasters. And like I say now, Luna Park is a really well-rounded park. You know, for an amusement park, it's got a fantastic collection of flats. You know, they've got some more thrilling flats, a lot of junior flats, but it's also got a really good collection of coasters now as well, with some thrilling coasters and some junior coasters as well. So, talking about the Zamperla coasters, like I say, the standout is probably Thunderbolt. People told me before going that this was actually quite rough. This was obviously the first Thunderbolt coaster. I thought this was actually a really good coaster. You know, vertical lift hill. You have quite a steep drop after that. It's not completely vertical, but it's another steep drop after that. You have multiple inversions on the ride. I think it's 4. However, there's some nice moments of airtime in there as well. You know, with just a lap bar, some of those inversions are really freeing, and some of the airtime is very good on that ride. I think it's a fantastic addition. You know, they have Steeplechase, a launch coaster, and that's a quite nice little family thrill coaster. They have, you know, classic Wild Mouse coasters, like I say, junior coasters from ENF Myla. Soarin Eagle, obviously a Zamperla Velar. It's not great to have one of those around, but you know, it's interesting, unique to the area, and it does look very good on this plot of land right by the ocean. It does give you some good views of the Atlantic Ocean whilst you go around the course, and it isn't one of the worst ones I've done. It's not too rough. The highlight junior coaster though is Tony's Express. This was built in 2022 alongside a log flume, and they sort of intertwine with each other, these two rides, and it's a fantastic little coaster, this. Not the longest layout in the world for a junior coaster, but you know, it doesn't need to be, and I think it's a fantastic little addition, a bit intertwining with that log flume. It's really nice. The one downside I'll get into before talking about the highlight coaster and what Luna Park is probably most well known for is sort of the pricing system. Now, I know it's an amusement park, there is pay-per-ride, but the pay-per-ride is extortionate, you know. I think it's like £10 per ride on things like Tony's Express and Thunderbolt, which £10 per ride for a junior coaster, I know it's brand new, but that really is crazy. Or $10, I should say. And $10 on a ride like Thunderbolt, you know, that's not too bad. That's sort of what you expect to pay on some larger sort of boardwalk parks across the world. So that's not too bad, but I think, you know, if you're expecting to ride every coaster at the park, ride multiple flat rides, or even get some re-rides in, you are going to be paying a lot of money at Luna Park. So just prepare yourself for that if you do come to Luna Park, Coney Island. Now, obviously the standout, and I think what everyone really knows Luna Park for, is their classic Cyclone coaster. This is one of the most iconic coasters anywhere in the world. One of the most oldest operating wooden coasters. It's originally built in 1927. By Henry C. Baker and Vernon Keenan, and this is a truly fantastic coaster. You know, wooden coasters all over the world are still modelled off this layout. It is a fantastic layout, full of great airtime with those buzz bars, padded seats as well, so it's not an uncomfortable ride even though it's nearly 100 years old, this coaster. Great laterals on some of the turns, and like I say, it really is one of the best wooden coasters out there. I think it's in my easily in my top 5 wooden coasters for me in the minute, and you know, that's considering it's nearly 100 years old. It's a very smooth ride. The park has clearly looked after this, and they know it is one of the most iconic coasters anywhere out there. If you ask people to talk and think of a coaster, they will most likely think of the Coney Island Cyclone, the classic Coney Island Cyclone, at some point very early on when asked what they think of as the most iconic coaster. You know, pop culture references, Luna Park and the Cyclone is shown in many recent sort of TV and pop culture references, such as Spider-Man Homecoming and the Amazon series Mr. Robot. And I think it's been plenty more of the films in you know, Hollywood history and in American TV and film, which just shows how important this park is to the Luna Park area. So that's my review of Luna Park Coney Island. You know, it is a very classic amusement park. Don't get me wrong, there's no theming there, but you don't necessarily need that. You know, this is a classic amusement park, and since Zamperla took over, there is a fantastic collection of flats and coasters there, with one of the most iconic and, in my opinion, one of honestly the best wooden coasters anywhere out there. Fantastic airtime. You know, none of this controlled airtime that you get on a GCI. This is out of controlled, classic wooden coaster airtime. Fantastic trains with some great lateral forces in there as well. So some good steel coasters. I think they do need a standout steel coaster now. Don't get me wrong, they have Thunderbolt, but you know, I didn't mind it, but I know it gets a lot of hate in the community. So a modern steel coaster and potentially another junior coaster or two would do this park justice. But just know you're going to be in for getting a lot of money out of your pockets if you're visiting Luna Park Coney Island. But for every enthusiast, it's definitely worth a visit at least once in your life, because this is a fantastic and one of the most iconic parks anywhere in the world. If you visited Luna Park Coney Island, what are your thoughts down below? I'd love to hear. If you've not been, do you want to go? Do you think you'll ever make a trip to this classic American amusement park? If you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a like, it massively helps out the channel, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you very much for watching.